Well, that was an angry time, but we ended up laughing. But a lot of people are angry with our Alex Kirkland in social media because he had to say in his article about Real Madrid. He says, I'm still not entirely convinced that a side with Kylian Mbappé, Vinny Jr and Jude Bellingham in it can function consistently and well. He also went on to say, how often have we seen the team play really well? It happened in flashes, but in the majority of games over the last 18 months, the side has looked disjointed, especially against elite opposition. All right, Ale, what did you make of what our colleague Alex Kirkland had to say here?
Makes a fair point. The lack of structure and organization of Real Madrid it's very clear to see. I do think there is a world in which you can play with all these three players, but you have to change the look of the team and the approach and mindset of the players that we just mentioned. Vinny has to play more central with Kylian Mbappe, side by side. Can't just park yourself on the left-hand side. Both of them have to be willing to do the work defensively and chase around and at the very least make the play predictable for other teams when other teams are trying to play it at the back. I'm not saying that you have to chase all the way back there, but at the very least shade the play to one side or the other so that it makes it easier to defend. As for Jude Bellingham, I think there is a role underneath Vinny and Mbappe. And he can be the presence inside the 18-yard box, which he was in his first season in La Liga, successfully so. I think those things can happen. But in order for those things to happen, they have to have structure behind it that also supports that builds a platform so that these guys can do what makes them some of the best players in the world. And that platform that I'm talking about does not exist because Tchouaméni hasn't become the player that they thought he would, because Camavinga hasn't become the player that they thought he would. They have lost other players that control the pace of the game, mainly Toni Kroos, and they have lost control of matches. And so while we focus on those three names on the front side of the team, the back side of the team, the middle third of the team is where I think this team has the most issues.
Sid, what about you? What do you make of what Alex had to say? Of course, he's also alluding to the fact that a lot of these players, they're not going to track back.
I mean, obviously, look, I'm all in favour of anything that encourages people to wade in on Alex Kirkland. I think it's very cruel the way that we're trying to expose him. I basically everything Ali said, I think I agree with, and everything that Alex has said, I think I agree with him. I think the evidence so far is that it's difficult to make this work. I don't think it's necessarily impossible. I think there needs to be a structure built, and I think I would add one extra thing to what Ali was saying, which is that what Ali's talking about in terms of the structure. This is precisely one of the reasons why Xabi Alonso came, to try and create that structure, to try and make this a team that had an identity, that had a clear pattern, that had clear positions. And I think Jude Bellingham, in a way, is the most interesting one in all this. Because Jude Bellingham, is he a 10? Is he an 8? Is he a 6? What's his role? Where do we want him to be? Which parts of the pitch do we want him to be in? And I think what Alex says is entirely rational, that so far what we've seen is that it isn't quite working with these three. I think Ali's right. It's broader than that. But that you have to find a way to make it work. And so far, it hasn't been easy to do so. And so yeah, completely.
Frank's going to come in.
I really think so. Sorry. Yeah, Alexi. I mean, Alex is absolutely and 100% right about his comment. But he should have done that statement a little bit before, and he could have done that statement before, because we had the best example in the world some years ago at Paris Saint-Germain, and when Mbappé signed, and I saw Vinícius Jr, Jude Bellingham, I said even before they tried to play together that it could be a problem because they don't track back and because they don't make the effort for the rest of the team. And we had the best example with Paris Saint-Germain, where you had Messi, Neymar, and Mbappe not doing the job. And I don't know why. Xabi Alonso tried to correct that, putting Vinícius Jr sometimes on the bench. Alex said it on his tweet as well. But you cannot play nowadays without one or two or even one players not tracking back, not doing the job. It's impossible. You cannot have a superstar doing the superstar. It's impossible. Maybe it was possible before, but nowadays, impossible.
All right, well, if you are questioning Kylian Mbappe's work rate, don't you worry, because his national team coach is going to come to his defense. Didier Deschamps was asked about it, and he had this to say: if you want him to run a minimum of 11 kilometers per game, don't bother, because he won't do it. It's true that a striker must also be selfish, but I can assure you that in the functioning of the French national team, he behaves like a captain. Frank, you agree?
Yes, he won't do 11 kilometers. I would love him to do only 6 kilometers. That would be already good, you know. Yeah, he's a captain, and I know he's a very smart guy, very well educated, and I'm sure he takes care of his teammates outside of the field. I would love more commitment. I'm sorry, Didier Deschamps has named him as a captain. He's not going to say what everybody can see. That, yes, he's a fantastic player. Yes, he can score goals and goals like easy peasy timing. But we want to see more involvement. We want to see something like you belong to a tactic, you belong to a scheme of playing, which is not, I play the ball and when I lose it, run for me, get me the ball back. I don't want to see that. It's impossible. I would have never played like that. And I'm pretty sure Didier Deschamps would have had Kylian Mbappé as a teammate. After 2 minutes, he would have run him behind him and tackled him for not running back. So I don't agree with that. Totally agree with that.
To that point, I agree with Deschamps in that I have no issue with Mbappe if he's not running 11 kilometers and he's scoring and he's giving what I ask him to do. I'll agree with Frank in that oftentimes we're looking for our captain to be the spark. When things aren't going well, he's the one that drives the team forward, and Kylian Mbappe is not that player.
Yeah.
He will always grab the headlines, he'll be the star of the show, but he's not the one you look to when things aren't going well. And to that point, if you look back at the 2022 final, you have a team built around a player like Kylian Mbappe, or his lack of running, however you want to look at it, but it still functions well. And when the World Cup final was getting away from them, Deschamps takes off Giroud, moves Kylian Mbappe to the middle, still not tracking back, but has the cover, has the legs around Kylian Mbappe, that France now get themselves back in the final. Final, they lost on penalties, of course. And I think that's the difference here. You can afford one. You can afford one player running less than 11 kilometers with the quality of a Kylian Mbappe. You can't afford 2. You certainly cannot afford 3. And that's the big issue right now for Real Madrid.
All right, well, speaking of Real Madrid and kind of Kylian Mbappe, the one who was missing out on appearances at Real Madrid was this man, the youngster from Brazil, Endrick. But since he's left Real Madrid, at least on loan to go over to Lyon, well, things have been going well. Just have a look at these stats. Just in 5 games for Lyon, he already has 5 goals and 1 assist, whereas at Real Madrid, he had only 3 games, 0 goals and 0 assists. Ale, now we're hearing that everyone in the hierarchy at Real Madrid is questioning why Xabi Alonso probably didn't give him more of a chance. And we know that the easy answer is, who's he going to come in for at this rate? But now it's looking like they're questioning if they've lost something special.
Well, the first thing that I would say to those that are questioning this is, Lyon, with all due respect, it's not Real Madrid. It's not. It isn't. And I have to imagine that he didn't see enough of him, whether at training, whether the way that he carried himself, or when he got opportunities to actually put him out on the field consistently when there were opportunities to do so. In comes another manager from a completely different approach, who's far more structured, who's far more organized, who's far more about this is what we need to do specifically, and this is the role that I think would make you a successful player. And that didn't quite work out either. And so, if 2 managers from 2 different perspectives have looked at the player and said, it's just not working here, it tells me that maybe, dare I say, maybe we look at the player and look at what he was bringing to Real Madrid, what he was not doing at Real Madrid, that now he's doing at Lyon.
Frank?
So, Ali, you are saying that playing for Lyon, it's easier than playing for Real Madrid? So you are saying that you are more served and you have more chances to score when you play for Lyon than when you play for Real Madrid, where normally you have the players to give you the balls and to make sure that you are getting into a good position to score goals. So I agree with you with maybe that he's too young, maybe he's not ready. But what he's doing right now with Lyon is creating chances, is getting responsibilities in the game where it should have been served and better served maybe from Real Madrid players.
I'm not going to have a discussion with you, Frank, as to whether Lyon is at the same level of Real Madrid. That is just not going to happen.
I didn't say that.
Well, Real Madrid,
I didn't say that.
Real Madrid is at a higher level than Lyon, and the expectation that comes with it and the pressure that comes with it are different than that of Lyon. And so now here's a player that goes into a different setup where he's wanted, where he's appreciated, where he feels like he can be the guy, he has a chance to breathe, and now we're seeing some of the flashes that we saw with Real Madrid. But that can only happen if he made this move. If he were right now at Real Madrid, he would not be doing what he currently is doing at Lyon. I think that's clear.